Good evening and welcome to Superscreen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Olamide Onga. Many thanks for joining us. A report says former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Olisa Metu, collapsed at the Federal High Court in Abuja as he made his way to the dock for his trial. You will recall that Metu is prosecuted alongside his company for alleged 400 billion naira received fraudulently from the office of the National Security Advisor in 2014. Metu's counsel, Emeka Etiaba, told the court that his client is ill and had the facts confirmed by medical personnel of the court. In his ruling, Justice Abang insisted that Metu's counsel should call his 11th witness in the trial and refused to withdraw the application, which he said is an attempt to delay the matter. Lawmaker representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Senator Dino Melaye, has thanked Nigerians for standing by him during his travails in the hands of those who described as the state. Melaye, in a lengthy write-up posted on Facebook today, alleged that his trials were a plot by the state to silence him. The lawmaker, however, said he is more resolute in his convictions, and Melaye is being prosecuted by the Nigerian police in 2 separate counts. While he is standing trial in Lokoja, Kogi State Court on charges bordering on gun running, he is also on trial in Abuja for attempted suicide, amongst other criminal cases. And the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has accused President Muhammadu Buhari of superintending over a corrupt fuel subsidy regime. The party asked the president to submit himself for an independent inquest into his handling of the 1.4 trillion naira oil subsidy regime, as well as the alleged complicity of his presidency and other acts of financial impropriety. This was contained in a statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Ologbondinyo, in Abuja. The opposition party said such inquest, which is already backed by state governors across the board, will not only expose homogeneous corruption, but also show the world that Nigeria's and African Union anti-corruption champion had not been totally spotless. And former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Minister of Information and Orientation Jerry Ghana and some other key politicians has paid a solidarity visit to Senator representing Plateau North in the National Assembly, Jono Jang, in prison. Their visit came about 5 days after Justice Daniel Longji of the Plateau State High Court in Jos ordered Jang's remand in a prison custody after being arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on a 12-count charge of alleged corruption and misappropriation of 6.3 billion naira. It was gathered that most of the politicians during their visit donated money to the prison for the welfare of the inmates. The All Progressives Congress (APC) in Lagos has produced new leaders that will steer the ship of the party and the state. These leaders emerged at the State Congress held at the party secretariat in Ogba Ikeja, and the Superscreen's Adenike Owoye Ajiboye, who covered the exercise, said it was void of violence. Details in this report.
There was a heavy presence of security personnel at the road leading to the entrance of the All Progressives Congress (APC) State Congress Secretariat, as journalists were subjected to thorough search before gaining entrance. Participants were subjected to the same search as they filed into the venue. Before casting a vote, the members of the party bear their mind on the exercise and the expectations.
Honestly, I'm the happiest person today. The otherwise office of the women leader that nobody knew anything about, I've been able to raise it to an enviable state. Over 15 people wanted to be women leader for Lagos State. And I'm so happy today that the person that the leaders have agreed to step into the office is a 3-time House of Rep member. That goes to show that the stake is indeed high. So for me, that's the best legacy I could give to Lagos State.
This party, the best in the world, and so we must make sure that we see that bigger picture and know that when you're being given that position, it is to create a better enabling grounds for everybody.
Lagos State Congress of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Now behind me you can see that indeed members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, are all set to cast their votes for those that are their preferred candidates. And right about now we are also hearing from a feelers reaching me that members of the All Progressives Congress is now divided, that some people are also having their own congress elsewhere. Now, what are some of their delegates or party leaders saying about this?
Those ones didn't know what they are doing, as far as I'm concerned. So, and we are here, and those who are relevant are here, and you are saying there's a parallel. Led by who? That will be the question. Led by who? The party leader is here, the speaker is here, I'm here. We're still waiting for others to come and finish their accreditation, and we're ready to go.
I want to say clearly that it's only Lagos State, and I'm bold to say, it's only Lagos State that you have clean politics. It's only here in Lagos that APC really exists. Other states have factions everywhere, but not here in Lagos.
This is the party secretariat, you know. Anything outside this place is null and void, illegal, of no use, of zero consequence. You know, all noise and no substance, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
The voting exercise commenced and the delegates were called one after the other to face members who gave their votes in a yes or no. Winners eventually emerged.
Elections are fast coming, they are fast approaching, and because of this, I've mapped out some strategies for our campaign. Of course, Governor Ambode is seeking a second term. I really want to work tirelessly and relentlessly with him.
But at this stage, nothing any of us will want to think of than to think of how to propel the state further than what we met. You know, we have done our best in the past, and we're still lucky we're still part of the new ESCO, and we're still going to tell them whatever experience we're going to share with them, and with our new ideas, of course, we expect the party to move forward.
It will interest you to note that there is a faction in the All Progressives Congress (APC) in Lagos State. The faction have been able to also do their own congress.
What we have done here is just, things in tandem and in compliance with the Electoral Act, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, the constitution of our party, and the guidelines for the conduct of congresses.
This is not parallel Congress, this is the only state Congress recognized by the national body of APC.
It remains to be seen how the All Progressives Congress, APC, will handle the situation at hand. Atinike Ajiboye, Superscreen News.
In other news, people living with HIV and AIDS and 11 other groups have petitioned the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, and his labor and employment counterpart, Chris Ngige, over the ongoing health workers' strike. According to the victims, the protracted industrial action is worsening their situations. The victims are threatened to hold both ministers accountable for any death of members or any other negative consequences the protracted industrial action would have on their lives or treatment. The petition was signed by Civil Society for AIDS and HIV in Nigeria and the Network of People Living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria, the Nigerian Diversity Network of Religion Leaders and Against HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. The Katsina State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, says 200 million naira worth of property was damaged in Thursday's rainstorm, which claimed no fewer than 6 lives in the state. SEMA Executive Secretary Dr. Aminu Waziri disclosed this in the Katsina and listed areas that were affected to include Kukagushwa, Modoji, Shinkafi, Ambassador, the Army and Air Force Barracks, Makera and Camberewa. He said Selma has suffered accommodation for some victims of the rainstorm whose houses were destroyed at Kukagushwa. The Selma boss explained that the victims, numbering about 50, had been taking refuge at a school or with friends and neighbors before the government's intervention. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has unveiled what he described as the upgraded website of his office, www.osgf.gov.ng. Mustafa, while speaking during the event in Abuja, said it is important for government to make information on government activities readily available to Nigerians and other stakeholders. According to him, it is necessary because information drives investment and development worldwide.
Most government institutions always would put up a website, but to keep the contents relevant and material at every given time has always been the challenge. But as far as the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is concerned, is that we will make every deliberate effort at whatever cost to ensure, bearing in mind our responsibility as the office that coordinates government activities, the office that formulates policies for government, the office that serves as the engine house of the government, will make every effort to ensure that our website is current in terms of information, is active, is interactive, and it creates a forum for e-participation so that the people of the country would interrogate government activities because they have the right to interrogate government activities. And we have a duty and a responsibility to offer them solutions, to offer them answers whenever they interrogate government activities. The citizens of this country, for whatever reason they decide to be critical of government, it's not that they hate the government. They want the government to improve on the services because they are citizens and they have a legitimate right and a claim to see that their government is working assiduously to meet their aspirations and their earnings. So with these very few remarks, I want to thank you for all efforts that have been put into this, particularly those of you that served on the content committee, those of you that drove the process, and for even our consultants and contractors.
The SGF also said arrangements have been concluded to train officials from ministries, departments and agencies who will be handling the different segments of the website. On the spot, the Permanent Secretary, General Services, Office of the SGF, Olusegun Adekunle, said there is a plan to train initial 50 officers for the 6 officers.
That is a task, but it is bringing governance to the people and involving the people in the process. Secretary to the government, this is in a nutshell what we're doing today. But the stages are this. There are 6 offices in the Office of the Secretary to Government. All of this, each of these offices will have content managers that will pass through a channel of authorization before they can upload information to the website, so that people can get informed about what is going on in government. We also have the backup from Galaxy. The SMTP is being set up as the text messaging system that can inform members of the public on the status of action on activities, on the inquiries that they have made. We also have a training plan for our officers. At the initial stage, 50 will be trained, selected from each of the 6 offices. And this will go down the line subsequently.
You will recall that the federal government had allocated 65 million naira for the project in the 2017 budget. You're watching the Superscreen News at 6. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take some business stories. Stay with us.
Before they come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigeria government are keeping quiet. Housemen are killing people. Why? It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family. You are affecting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it plaza. Say each shop there are 4 million naira. So I don't have the money, so I have to leave. If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it. The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
Welcome back, and now for some business stories. The House of Representatives says a clean copy of the 2018 budget will be on the table of President Muhammadu Buhari within 1 week from the date of passage. You will recall that the National Assembly passed the 9.12 trillion naira budget on Wednesday last week after the appropriation bill had spent more than 6 months at the legislature. The final figure was raised by over 508 billion naira from the initial estimate of 8.612 trillion naira that the president laid before the lawmakers on November 7, 2017. Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Abdul Razak Namdas, told journalists that by Wednesday this week, the budget would have been sent to the table of the president. A Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma, says President Buhari might not assent to the 2018 budget recently raised to 9.1 trillion naira by the National Assembly with an additional 501 billion naira. Special Advisor on Media to the Minister, Akpandem James, who disclosed this, said the 501 billion naira addition by the legislature might not be feasible. Udoma said the National Assembly will have to tell Nigerians if they have discovered any additional revenue stream unknown to the federal government to cover for the addition. You will recall that the Senate increased the appropriation bill from the 8.612 trillion naira proposed by the president to 9.12 trillion naira, and the crude oil benchmark price of the budget was also increased from $45 to $50.5. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Joint have concluded a 3-day joint training sensitization program on anti-money laundering and terrorist financing. The program, which was attended by head offices and zonal secretariats of the APCON and key personalities from the NFIU, was held in Lagos. The president of APCON, Aminu Gwadabe, who disclosed this to journalists, said the anti-money laundering training is intended to familiarize bureau de change operators with the process of money laundering and the laws that makes it a crime. According to him, the training created awareness on the need to check money laundering and terrorist financing in the period of electioneering and will ensure that BDCs are not used to launder funds by politically exposed persons in the country. Still talking business, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has urged the Lagos State government to provide land for National Housing Program in the state. Fashola disclosed this at the 2018 Ramadan lecture of the Lagos branch of the Ansarudeen Society of Nigeria. The minister said the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration is working towards making life more meaningful for the Nigerians through carefully designed programs and projects. According to him, the National Housing Program is one of the federal government's efforts to address the country's housing deficit. Fashola also said President Buhari has approved the construction and reconstruction of roads, including the Lagos-Abeokuta Road, the Lagos-Ibadan Road, as well as the Ikorodu-Shagamu Road in Lagos State. You're watching the Superscreen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. We'll take another break. When we return, we'll take some more stories from the foreign and sports scene. Stay with us.